In the rise of Adolf Hitler, three men would emerge as the backbone of his dictatorship: Hermann Goering, Joseph Goebbels, and Heinrich Himmler. Each came from very different backgrounds, but together they became the core of Hitler's inner circle, shaping the Nazi regime and giving it the ruthless tools it needed to survive and expand. Hermann Goering was once the head of the SA, the Nazi street fighters. After the movement fractured, he returned to Hitler, reminding him of past loyalty and sacrifices. Unlike others, Goering was not destined for street battles anymore. His battlefield would become the halls of power and the salons of high society. Patiently, he rebuilt his influence until 1928, when he entered the Reichstag as one of the first Nazi deputies. By 1932, he even rose to become its president. And when Hitler became chancellor, Goering flourished. No one collected as many titles or honors as he did: President of Prussia, Air Minister, Reich Marshal, Grand Huntsman of the Reich. His uniforms, medals, and decorations made him appear like a man intoxicated with power. To Joseph Goebbels, Goering seemed arrogant and ridiculous, a pompous showman who loved luxury. But appearances aside, Goering was a strong man, one who played a central role in installing Hitler's dictatorship. Joseph Goebbels was the complete opposite. Crippled from childhood and rejected in almost every part of his life, he felt like a failure before meeting Hitler. He dreamed of becoming a soldier in the First World War, but his disability kept him from the front lines. Ashamed, he lied about his past, claiming wounds that never existed. A doctor of literature, he failed as a writer, working briefly as a bank clerk before resigning in despair. Then he met Hitler. For Goebbels, this encounter gave his life meaning. He saw Hitler as a superior being, charismatic, intelligent, almost godlike, and fell into a deep emotional dependence. Hitler tested him with a daunting challenge: conquering Berlin, the stronghold of the communists, known as Red Berlin. With just a handful of party members, Goebbels began his campaign of propaganda and violence. He created the Nazi newspaper Der Angriff, the attack, and sent his men into the streets to fight communists. Clashes erupted, arrests followed, and the party was even banned for a time. But Goebbels understood that scandal and bloodshed only fueled attention. When a young activist, Horst Wessel, was killed by communists in 1930, Goebbels transformed his funeral into a massive propaganda spectacle, attended by Hitler and Goering. His strategy of turning violence into myth worked. By 1933, Hitler rewarded him by making him the master of propaganda, a role in which he would prove indispensable. The third man, Heinrich Himmler, seemed at first the least likely of all. A bespectacled young man from a respectable middle-class Catholic family, he was the son of a schoolteacher. He studied agriculture and dreamed of living in rural purity, away from the corruption of modern society. But behind this quiet exterior lay an obsession with racial purity and radical nationalism. He disliked the crude, rowdy activists who filled the early Nazi Party. To him, they were uneducated and unreliable. His solution was to create something new, a disciplined elite within the movement. This was the SS, an organization requiring strict racial standards, absolute loyalty, and fanatical dedication. What began as a small club under Himmler's command would grow into the most feared instrument of terror in Nazi Germany. When Hitler finally became chancellor in January 1933, he showed little interest in daily government work. He preferred to leave responsibilities to his lieutenants, who competed fiercely for his favor. Goering quickly rose as one of the most decorated figures in the regime, amassing titles and power that made others jealous. Goebbels secured his place as the voice of the regime, manipulating mass media and stirring the German people into frenzy. Himmler, quietly and methodically, built the SS into an empire within the empire. Together, these three men, Goering the power-hungry aristocrat, Goebbels the brilliant propagandist, and Himmler the cold architect of racial terror, stood at Hitler's side as he turned Germany into a totalitarian state. They were not just followers. They were builders of a machine that would dominate Europe and plunge the world into war.